morning. Thank you so much for joining us for this edition of SBB University titled What to Do with Your Stuff Because Your Kids Don't Want It. And I know that's so hard to hear, but it is the truth. And we're going to get into some of the things that you can do to save your kids the hassle of going through that stuff when you need to move. So we're going to start with some introductions. We have Mr. Bob Sheehan, who's with us from Hope Chest. How are you this morning, Bob?
Just great. Thank you.
Wonderful. Tell me a little bit about yourself and what brought you into this wonderful nonprofit that you've worked for quite a while now.
I have. I'm with Hope Healthcare, well known in our community as Hope Hospice. We serve over 1,100 patients on a daily basis in our hospice program. In addition to that, we have a number of other programs that we provide to support our community, our elders, and to help those folks to stay at home. I came to Hope about 12 years ago. My personal background is I'm a licensed funeral director, and I had worked with hospice for many years, and just really was moved by their mission and how they supported our community. So today I'm going to be talking to you about Hope Chest, which is our retail resale store. And we'll talk about more about that in a little bit.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Bob. All right. Captain Barry Nichols, how are you?
Great. Thank you. Good to be here again. Such a great, the panel discussion is always so much fun. So my background, I've had a passion for gems ever since I was a little kid. Years later, I was able to afford to buy some, turned into a gem dealer. People don't want just a loose gem, turned into a jeweler. I've had a number of careers. They've all been awesome, but this one's the longest lasting. I've been doing this for 40 years, been in Naples 31, and we design jewelry. And as a result, we always need gold, silver, and platinum, so we buy them. So we advertise that we buy all that, and people come in with things that, for whatever reason, they're ready to get rid of. And one of the frequent refrains is, we just inherited this and we don't want it. We don't know what to do with it. And so we tell them all the options, one of which is us buying it from them or redesigning it, but I'll cover all that shortly. So that's the latest.
Yes, and it's Paradise Jewelry, the friendliest jeweler around, and he has to have the best glasses or goggles or whatever on your head that I've ever seen.
Oh, without these, I'm blind. I gotta, and people will show me something, say, Barry, would you look at this? I say, I'll try, but I can't see anything. You got to catch me at the store.
I love it. They're awesome. Awesome. All right. We have Miss Patty Nanni, who's joining us from Wayforth, which is the largest move management company in the United States. How are you this morning, Patty?
I'm fantastic. I am so happy to be here. And I'm so happy that Wayforth is here. We had not physically, we served the Florida area, but had not physically been, housed in this area. So a little over 6 months ago, we expanded into Florida, starting with Florida West, and are absolutely blessed to have met you and been able to partner with the Seniors Blue Book. It's been, it's just been a wonderful resource in the community and, business wise and personally, everybody that I've connected with has just been amazing. And as the largest moving and move management company, we still are very much right here in the community. We have our own folks to take care of our own communities and our own seniors, our own real estate people, and whoever needs help in any life transition, we are here as a full service, full solutions company.
Fantastic. And you mentioned real estate, so we're going to jump over to Mr. Tracy Crowell, who is joining us today. This is one of his first panel discussions, and he is a senior real estate expert. How are you this morning, Tracy?
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me today.
Tell me a little bit about yourself and your background. What led you into working directly with seniors and all of their real estate needs?
Sure. So I've been in Naples for about 25 years and have always had a passion for real estate, and have watched the market go up and down. We all know what happened in 2008, and now all of a sudden here we're riding high again. And I think this time it's going to be different for everybody. I think it's going to hold steady now for us. I don't see a major drop like we did before. So that's kind of the newest thing going on. Exactly. Fingers crossed. For everybody, that's for sure. But yeah, full-time realtor here the last 3 years. I do have some senior living sales and leasing background as well. So I do know some of you in the Senior Blue Book community from those days in the past as well. And I just kind of bridge the two together with working directly with the real estate end of things with people and just enjoying myself working with Senior Blue Book as well.
Yes, thank you. And I also come from a background of real estate before I got into senior living sales. So I know that the two really do complement each other and kind of arm you with that extra layer of knowledge and understanding when people are making this move. And I know how emotional this topic can be. I deal with it with my grandmother, who would probably shoot me for talking about her on camera, but I'm just going to say it, Nana. I don't want your stuff. So this wonderful dynamic group of panelists is going to talk to us today about some of the things that we can do with our things. You know, like Barry mentioned, he has a lot of people that are coming in after the fact that have to go through all of these belongings. So Barry, I'm going to start with you. Tell me some of the things that you can do with your jewelry.
Well, the first thing we do is we're glad to sort what they have, because often they don't even know what they have. And they don't know what's costume or what's valuable. And so we'll go through it and make little piles of this, you know, various values. And then we talk about what their options are. Your number one option is keep it and enjoy it. But the reason they brought it in is they don't want to do that.
Right.
You can gift it, and you gift full value. It never depreciated. You can redesign it, which is a very popular option. And then we give them back what's left over if they want. If not, we purchase it or we apply it to the price of what they're having done. Then we can just write a check for it. And that's also popular. We buy aggressively, we pay high because we actually use the metals. And so it's interesting because we see some really neat things and we get to hear their stories. And some of them are heartbreaking, but most of them are a lot of fun. And they'll talk about how grandma always wore this ring and now they've got it. And often they just want us to make sure it's ready to wear. And then we'll check all the prongs for them and see if it needs any repair and do that. But we go through all the options and we never tell anybody what they need to do. We just tell them what they can do.
Yeah, and I know some people think that their items are worth, you know, hundreds and thousands of dollars. And I know you have a really good quote that I want you to share when it comes to like how you appraise things and what people are willing to pay.
Remind me which one, because I've got a lot of them.
It's only what people, the fair market value, what people are willing to pay. You have like a catchy phrase.
Well, anything's worth what someone's willing to pay for it. And you don't want it. How badly do you think everybody else wants it?
Right.
You know, and then when you're coming to me or anyone that buys, if we really needed it, we would have bought it already.
Yeah, for sure.
So what I can offer for it is less than wholesale. And the people that understand that are not offended. Those that don't understand it, I have to explain it gently.
Yeah.
Because I express in dollars and cents how badly I wished I owned the piece and how useful it's going to be to me. And that varies. People call me on the phone and say, what are you paying? I said, it totally depends on what it is. If you bring me a signed Picasso, because Picasso made jewelry, you bring me a signed Picasso, I can pay a lot.
Yeah.
You bring me a class ring, nobody wants it but you. And now you don't want it. It's gold. I melt it and I get a little ball of gold and that's what I can pay for.
Yes, perfect. Okay, Bob, I'm going to hop over to you because we have one side of things when you're dealing with what you can liquidate and get money for, and then we have the donation side of things. So tell me a little bit about the process with Hope Chest. Will you guys pick up donations, and what can't you take?
Well, we take just about everything. I want to start off by saying we want your stuff. We love your stuff. Your stuff is a treasure to some folks. And, I will just say that we are a not-for-profit. Hope Hospice relies on its reimbursements for Medicare and insurance policies. But as you know, from the medical professions, we just never receive enough money to pay for the expenses. So the profits that come from the Hope Chest store all come into the not-for-profit and allow us to provide services to everyone in the community, regardless of their ability to pay. So that's why the donations are so important. We have 3 locations. We have one in North Fort Myers, we have one in Fort Myers, and one in Bonita Springs. So we cover a wide area geographically. We will come out and pick up your donations. Again, as to answer your question, Amanda, I mean, we take everything from furniture to clothing to housewares. I think that's, if it's able to be resold, we're going to take it.
Yes.
And it's going to benefit folks in our community who perhaps couldn't afford to go to a store and buy it new. So they're getting a benefit out of it. Our patients are getting a benefit out of it. So it's a win-win all the way around for us.
And I can honestly speak from experience that you're very prompt. I've called and gotten things picked up the very next day, sometimes same day. So it's a great service. Maybe it's because I live right down the street from Hope Chest and Bonita that they're that prompt, but they're very prompt. So I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move down to Tracy. Tracy, when you're getting ready to put your house on the market, what should you do to prep it for sale? Talk to me a little bit about that, and then also talk to me about your special designation in real estate.
Sure. So I would say right now, probably the 2 biggest things that come up, say during inspection, when a person that's interested in purchasing your home or condo, mostly with homes, especially with the 2 things are going to be the roof and the air conditioning system. That's really going to, both of those can really change a little bit of the value of the home. So for instance, if you have a older roof, let's say that it was 20 years old and certain hurricane codes are different now, it can make about a $30,000 difference in the value of your home. So you just got to know that going in. Hey, do I have something new that was replaced by insurance because of Hurricane Irma? Or do I have something that's older that somebody's going to have to replace here in a few years? So that's one thing that you got to keep in mind. And then of course the air conditioning systems are a necessity here in Florida. And if you haven't been taking care of it or getting it serviced routinely, it's going to show again in the inspection. And you don't have to replace either items to sell your home, but you do have to factor in those values, considerations, either to the positive or negative when talking about those 2 items. So I'm what's called a SRES realtor. That stands for Senior Real Estate Specialist. Basically, you get this designation by passing a series of classes and tests that have topics that are important to age 50 plus individuals. And there's only a few of us around town that have actually earned this designation. So I work hand in hand with everybody that's in the Senior Blue Book community. And I become more of a move manager, I guess is the best way to put it, versus a realtor. So whatever pops up, if you want to have an estate sale, or you do want to donate a number of your items when you're downsizing, we have the right people to get you connected with.
You sure do, right here on this panel. Whoop, whoop. All right, next on the docket, Patty Nanni. Speaking of move manager, you also consider yourself a transition specialist. Now, your organization does everything, and you work hand in hand with real estate agents. So tell me a little bit about how that partnership works. And you also have partnerships with folks like Bob from Hope Chest that you help with donations. So tell me a little bit about how that whole process works.
Well, thank you very much, Amanda. And Tracy, we're here to take some of the load off of your shoulders because we truly are a part of the entire transition. So, we have we work directly with real estate specialists, of course, individuals who come to us, but primarily, it's going to be your trusted advisor that's going to say, you know what, I've got the person that can help you. Like Tracy just said, I have the person that can take your stuff to donation or, take all of these things. But what we do is we come in and do a free in-home consultation. It usually lasts about 2 hours, and do a full inventory of where you're at in your life. Honestly, whether you're a busy professional that needs to move across town, but primarily we work with seniors. That is our number one focus, is to work with seniors and senior communities, SRES, agents. And so we come in and we take a look at your life and we say, what needs to happen here? We give you a plan of action from beginning to end. Are you just getting started and you have some time? Do we need to do some downsizing? Do we need to sort out things that need to go to donation, that can go to Barry? And, does this have value? We have a trusted advisor in Barry that can say, and give you a trusted opinion of, what needs to happen. We can take stuff to Bob that is like, okay, your family doesn't want the armoire, it's not going to be
Bob does.
It's not going to be cost effective to ship it to Kansas, but we can give it to Bob. But we help you coordinate all of those pieces pre-move, getting ready, organizing. And then when it comes time, we have a team that all of your things are 100% in our care and control from the beginning of the process to the end. So our team members come in and they pack all of your things, they label it, they inventory it. We have a floor plan for where you're going. Everything's positioned and placed exactly where you want it. So we move you. There are movers. We move you, we unpack you, and hang your pictures, put your towels in the laundry, in the linen closet, put your silverware in the drawer, take away all of the trash, all of the boxes, all of the packing, and you're done. And it's as stress-free as a move can possibly be. Moving is in the top 3, marriage, death, and moving. Or marriage, divorce, death, and moving. I'm sorry, marriage. Marriage is probably number 4. It's death, divorce, and moving. And moving is, even when it's a wonderful thing, when I'm, if I'm making this choice to go into a beautiful senior living community, I'm going to sell my house high because Tracy's got the contacts and it's got the hustle and he's going to give me all this money for it. And I'm going into this amazing community. Even then, there is the change and having to let go of things. There's a sense of loss. There's a sense of grief. There's a stress in the change. And we're there to help you every single step of the way and make sure that not only are we providing you with trained professionals to help you go through every piece of it, but that we bring in trusted advisors, just like the advisors on this panel, that are going to take care of you.
Perfect. Yes.
That's major.
You really connect every single panelist here, because like with Tracy, when you're getting ready to sell your house or even thinking about it, the first thing you need to do is declutter. And because you are that full transition specialist, you come in, you declutter, you find all this jewelry that the kids don't want, you take it to Barry. This is the whole prep process. And it's what I love about doing these panels, is to show everyone that there are all of these people, there's an army of people that are ready to help you when you're making this transition, whether it be downsizing or moving into a senior living community.
Absolutely.
All right, Bob, you're up. I am going to ask you to clarify a little bit. We know that Hope Chest is an amazing organization. Tell me where the furniture goes, where the money goes, and why should we be donating to your organization?
Well, as I said before, we have a number of different programs. For instance, in Hendry and Glades County, we have a program that's called Hope Connections, where we provide meals and transportation and general support to folks out there in the counties that just want to stay at home and but need that little extra support. And those are programs. A Parkinson's program that we have over 500 clients in Parkinson's program, which we receive no reimbursement for. And we provide educational and exercise classes and things of that nature. Kids, Hope for Kids, we have a wonderful bereavement program for our children, and we have a summer camp for them, a bereavement camp, and all of these extra services that we provide in addition to hospice, again, all need funding. Our community is extremely supportive. We are so grateful. But in addition to that, our Hope Chest stores, our resale stores, really generate the profits that we use 100%. We operate with volunteers, which is absolutely amazing. We have a couple hundred volunteers that work in our 3 stores. They'll come in and work a couple hours a day. And because of that, obviously we can generate revenue from the stores. So like I say, it's a win-win for our community. It's a win-win for our patients and those who we care for. And we just love the people we meet when we receive the donations. So many of them have stories that are just really meaningful and heartwarming, so it's just another extension of our community.
Yes, I'm sure you hear the stories as well as Barry on every little piece has a story behind it, I am sure. And I love the fact that you are run by volunteers. So all of that revenue can go back into the community that you serve. Even with the Hope PACE program, I know that's funded by Medicare, Medicaid, but if you want to get involved in volunteering with Hope Healthcare, I highly encourage it. They have a wonderful group of volunteers that work with them.
Thank you. Yes, overall, we have over 1,000 volunteers in our program. So
that's great. Absolutely wonderful. All right, Barry, you are up. Talk to me
Ask
about
me anything.
Making the decision to either create a new piece of jewelry or to, as you said, melt it down into a nugget.
Well, often the value is there. The gemstones can be fine gemstones, fine diamonds. The piece may be very dated. It may be what one person or another considers boring. And of course, there's something for everybody. But when you inherit something, you're inheriting their taste, which might have been really popular 40, 50 years ago, and now not so much. Well, Bridget is really good at coming up with designs, and she or I will sit down with the customer and we'll look at what they like, what their taste is, and we'll come up with something that will be uniquely theirs, a one-of-a-kind piece that we can build. And now they have an exciting piece of jewelry and they didn't pay for any of the materials.
Yeah.
The materials can be pretty expensive. So they're just paying for what we do. If we've got time, I'll tell you a quick story. A woman came in one day and had a handful of rings. She said, "Do you buy jewelry?" I said, "Absolutely. Have you considered redesigning it?" And her jaw dropped. She said, "You do that?" I said, "Oh yeah, we do." We spent 40 minutes designing a ring for her.
Oh.
Weeks later, she came in to pick up her new ring, and it was exactly what she hadn't known she was dreaming of it till we came up with the design, but it was her dream come true. Perfect ring. She was in heaven. It cost $1,800 to build, and I still had to write her a check.
Yeah.
So she left with the perfect dream ring, a check, happy as could be.
That's amazing. I love that story, Barry. Thank you for sharing.
It's a fun business to be in, because if people aren't happy when they walk in, they're typically happy when they walk out. We're good at that.
Yeah. Now you've covered a lot of different options as far as redesigning. Are there any other options for your jewelry that we didn't discuss?
Well, we didn't go into a lot of detail about if you want to try to get more money for it. Mm-hmm. We always encourage people, if you can sell it privately, that's called retail. You're dealing with the end consumer and competing with me and every other jeweler in the world. It's not easy, but it can be worth it. And we tell people that's the option. And most of them say, "Oh, I don't want to do that." And I say, "I totally get it." But if you want to, and the hierarchy runs pretty much, if you keep it or gift it, full value. Let's say you paid $1,000 for it. That's full value. It didn't depreciate. If you try to sell it privately, ask more than half, because you're trying to get half. And if you can get that, you did well. Yeah. Once you move out of that level of the market and you're competing with the wholesaler, you're down in the 10 cents to 30 cents on the dollar range. Mm-hmm. So that $1,000 piece, you could get $100 offer. and it's a fair offer, and it won't sound like it, especially let's say you bought it yesterday and you're remembering what you paid for it, and now you're saying, oh, it's boring, I don't like it, let's get rid of it. Well, that's a fair offer. It's the only economic thing that works, which is why we encourage people, keep it or redesign it or gift it, and then you're getting much better. Or if you can sell it retail and get half, but it's not easy. I run a whole store trying to do that every day.
Yeah, sounds a lot like work,
I've got
Barry.
some advantages. It's a lot like work, yeah. Well, one of our favorite catchphrases is, all you got to do is. Whatever it happens to be, people say, oh, all you got to do is, and people will come in and they'll say, well, you can sell it. And I say, well, yeah, maybe, but I've got a store full of jewelry I'm already trying to sell. I don't need one more piece to try to sell. And I don't say this, but it isn't really pretty, and it's not an attractive style, but you never want to diss somebody's precious jewelry, especially because it could have a lot of meaning to them.
Yes.
But basically, if it was that easy, I'd be retired.
Yeah. What I was going to say is I do think that you're probably one of the most honest jewelers that I've ever
Thank you.
met with and talked with, and you just about took it to a new level there. But I know that you don't actually say that to people, so I'm like, man, Barry, you are very honest.
Well, and I try to combine that with diplomacy.
Yes, and you do it well. Thank you. All right, Tracy, the market is going crazy right now. However, is it the right time to downsize or sell? And what is your opinion of people moving in? How can they get equity out of their home to move into these senior living communities if that's what they're choosing to do?
Yeah, I think you kind of almost answered your question there a little bit. When I come in and I talk to somebody that's considering selling their home or condo, we just don't look at selling the home as the option, then as it all be. We'll look at maybe keeping it in the family and renting the home out and maintaining a cash flow. Maybe that makes more sense for certain individuals and situations. Another thing that it's getting really popular, and I've seen actually people it really work for them, is to do the loans where they get the reverse
mortgage.
I know we have some people in our senior Blue Book team that we can recommend for those services. So yeah, we just want to make sure that you look at every angle and every option and make a well-educated decision. And but it is, even my wife and I, we just sold our place with just the two of us, big 4-bedroom house. It's a hot market right now. It's a great time if you've been considering doing it, maybe going from a 4-bedroom down to a 2-bedroom condo, or maybe a senior retirement community. It's not a bad time to maybe go ahead and go through the process there. The biggest thing that I've kind of noticed is, since working now with Senior Blue Book for a little bit, everybody is going to eventually end up in the funnel, I'll call it, whether they see Patty or they see Barry or anybody else in Senior Blue Book. And it's just, once you start dealing with one of the seniors Blue Book professionals, you're in good hands.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right, Patty, talk to me a little bit about the auction side of things. That's something we haven't covered. If somebody wanted to auction their items, what's your advice there?
Well, that's where being a trained professional comes in, because as Barry has to tell his folks what you think is auction worthy, what you think is at that level, we need to pull in some, and we will pull in people to evaluate and give them an objective valuation of their items. And to be honest, it's a cold reality sometimes that, for people to understand that this, beautiful set of china that, and I literally saw one, that this beautiful set of china that this senior, he was at least 80, that his great grandmother had brought over from Italy. And it's not going to auction. It's not going to auction. It's valuable to your family and to your stories, and
probably valuable to Bob, who
I was just going to say Bob would want it. Bob's valuable to Bob, but we do have two different choices when it comes to auction. Like if you do have items of high value, we can work with the local auctioneer and put it in, in a local auction house. And then they're very particular about what they take. But then again, if you have, high value, lovely things, then that we can do that locally. Probably in that mid-level where you still have things that are valuable, but maybe not, an in-person auctioneer. We use a company that has an online auction source.
Yeah.
It's called Max Sold, and we will batch things for you. And I inventory it, catalog it, we'll do all of the work for you. And the online auction company takes care of making sure that it's publicized and it gets the traffic that it needs to get. And then, we keep the stuff in our warehouse in the lots and the batches, and then they can make arrangements for either us to deliver it or for people to come directly to the warehouse and pick it up. But that kind of lends itself to the conversation of having professionals that will sit there and help you decide what you're going to keep. We do floor planning for the places that you're going. So, in that dining room set that you have a table, you have 8 chairs, you have a hutch and a banquet. Let's talk about, it's not all going to fit. Let's talk about what can fit. And then what are you going to do with those other things? And
Bob wants it.
Bob wants it.
Right.
Bob wants it. Or your daughter in Kansas does want it, and it is worth it to her for us to ship it up there to her.
Yeah.
But all of those things are the conversations that our trained professionals, help you make that decision in.
Yeah. And I mean, it can be a very emotional time. And I do think that a majority of the folks that you work with are moving into a senior living community versus downsizing. I'd say a big portion of them are. So you're going through the transition of changing your entire environment and parting with your belongings. It's very emotional. So I think all of us have kind of become counselors, as well as, specialists in our fields. So kudos to all of you, because I know that you're dealing with people when they're going through usually a kind of a tough time or an emotional time. So Bob, I'm glad you came back. We were just talking about a beautiful set of china that we need to get over to you. So.
Oh, great.
All right. Well, thank you so much for spending the morning with me. Everybody out there that has questions, comments, or chats, please put them in the box and we will get your answers and advice back to you as soon as possible. So without further ado, I want to wish every single one of you a wonderful day, and I thank you so much for your time.